Short video showing you how to identify seventh chords. A root position chord is going to always have the root as the lowest note, as is shown here. When you invert the chord, when you invert it the first time, you are moving the root up an octave. And a clump is created. The upper note of that clump is the root. As you can see, this is a C chord. The C is now on top. At the top of this clump of notes, this second that's formed by moving the root up. Okay, that's a first inversion. Here's the same thing again, but we're going to invert it twice. So once, twice. That's a second inversion. But notice that the root is still the top note of the clump. Okay, this is going to be a consistent thing. And finally, we're going to invert this one 3 times. It's going to be the third inversion. Here's the first time, here's the second time, and here's the third time. But once again, the root is still at the top note of this group of notes, this asymmetrical group, forming a second. Okay, so visually, you can always identify a inversion's root by looking for the upper note of the second that is formed when you invert a chord. So let's identify each chord. Well, this key signature is no sharps and flats. The root note is C, so that's clearly a C major 7. This chord has a different key signature, the key of F, that's right. Now it's an inversion, so we have to identify root. So we look for the upper note of the second formed by the inversion, a C. So that means it's a C chord. So you ask yourself, what scale degree is C? The scale degree of C in F is 5. What's the 5 chord in the key of C, in the key of F? Dominant 7th, 5 dominant 7th, so it's a C7. Okay, the next chord, what's the key signature? Yes, G major. Is the chord inverted? Yes, it is. What's the root of this chord? Look at the upper note of the clump formed by the second. That's a D. What scale degree is D in the key of G? Scale degree 5. What kind of chord is diatonic on the 5th scale degree? Dominant 7th. This is a D dominant 7th chord. And last but not least, our third inversion over here. What key are we in? Key of D major. What is the upper note of the inverted chord, of the second in the inverted chord? The note D, so it's a D chord. We're in the key of D, so it's the 1 chord in the key of D major. What is that? And that is right, it's a D major 7 chord.